Hello, this is Candace with Happy Catastrophe, or I'm also known amongst Buddhist friends as Sister Minbao, or Sister, because I am a Buddhist nun. And my little cricket cutie and I are here to introduce you to another book. Now, this is a quest that I've been on, is to find a few more tarot coloring books, because some of you may know that I started a new series in March of 2023 about coloring the tarot, and here is the hashtag. And this series starts with an introduction video and a card zero video. So the video is a combination intro and card zero, which card zero is the Fool. And we start there and we learn what the tarot is and what it is not. And then we go into depth about what the Fool card means and how we can use it as a meditative tool and to think about things in our life. So I am not an expert tarot reader. I am not, I just have studied it a lot because I'm fascinated with the artwork that's on the cards, and I use them as a meditative tool. But, so if you're interested in that series, I would love for you to come join. Start with the first video and work your way through at your own pace. And as you color images from those videos, like right now, this is March 2023, the end of March. We just finished the Fool, and we're going to move on to card 2, the Magician. As you finish coloring images of the cards that we talk about in the videos, please do post them with this hashtag, Color the Tarot, and I will gather them together once a month and show them in a video. Okay, moving forward. So with that long introduction, that's how I came across this book. Found this on Amazon US for about $12 new. There's also a lot of used copies, but for $12, why not buy it new? It's by Alexis Thompson, and it is absolutely gorgeous. The cover is matte with this raised gold on it and just feels delicious. Alexis E. Thompson is a British Columbia.
I missed something. Can you say it again?
Alexa, turn off. This woman, Thompson, is a British. She's from British Columbia, and she is an artist and a tattoo artist. So you'll see a couple of these. Her tattoo background influences some of her drawings. But one of the reasons that I loved this book is because she uses the generic definitions of the cards, but her interpretation of the artwork is completely different. So let's start. Now the paper, this is not Amazon paper at all. It's cardstock. It's about the same weight as a Rita Berman book. And it's from Thunder Bay Press in San Diego. So it's a book. Got a nice little flap here. A tiny little introduction about what the tarot is and how they're used, and then it goes right into it. So these are one-sided technically, because the back side is a write-up about the card, the meaning of the card, so you could use alcohol ink if you were willing to make this more difficult to read. Up to you. So we start off with the 0 card, the Fool, and this is what caught my attention right off the bat, is that I have never seen the Fool depicted as geese, and I love it. Again, for those of you that are following along on the series, you notice that there's usually a cliff in the Fool card, and something is coming off the cliff, and it symbolizes taking a leap of faith, taking a chance, but not foolhardy. And the reason, she gives her reasonings here, why she chose, these are barnacle geese, and they nest on the sides of cliffs. And as soon as the little goslings are able to walk, before they can fly, they walk off the cliff. And that's their first steps out of the nest. If they fall all the way down, splat. And if they survive, that's where then they finish growing up, learn to fly, and go on about their lives. So it is definitely a leap of faith. They don't all survive. Seems like a very odd evolutionary trait, evolutionary path, but definitely it means the strongest goslings survive. So these are called barnacle geese. I looked them up, they're black and white. And what she's got surrounding here is dogwood flowers, which are usually light pinks and whites. So this could really be a stunning picture. And she chose dogwood flowers as a symbol of loyalty and protection offered by man's best friend. And as we talked about in the tarot video about the Fool, there is often a dog depicted in this card. It also symbolizes the humanity's connection with nature. That's interesting. And I love the framing of the picture, this small frame. Plus there's like a card frame with all this lushness. Isn't that beautiful? Again, lovely paper. Moving on to the Magician. And of course, the Magician, which is all about transformation. She uses the monarch butterfly along with the larval stage, the caterpillars. And around here, she has got magical herbs, which include rosemary, which are good for purification in preparation for a fresh start, lavender and sage, known for their healing properties, and for a very awesome Simon and Garfunkel song. I like the crystals here. Isn't that beautiful? Now, with this book and one more on the way, I'm going to have 5 different tarot coloring books. And so every month I want to color, well, I'll probably be doing the tarot videos more than once a month, but every video I want to color at least 1, but possibly 2 pictures of the card because it's part of my meditation. When we did the Fool, I spent a while coloring the Fool, images of the Fool and thinking about the Fool. And that was how I started my YouTube channel, was because I was very scared to take that leap and start this channel, although I really wanted to and everybody was encouraging me to, but I was just frightened. And finally, I just did it and got that first video out there. And I felt like I was these little goslings jumping off the cliff. And happily, I survived. So now moving on to transformation. And you'll see that a lot of the messages that these cards are supposed to bring and thought forms for you to contemplate are usually about transformation, change, rebirth. It's very, very common. So that's the Magician. Here's the High Priestess. Now she is surrounded by pomegranates, which aren't pomegranates fun to color? I really look forward to this page. I do want to do this one because the pomegranates are just so much fun. There's such layers of deep colors. And she is the real epitome of womanhood. So she's surrounded by the lushness. And she's got, this card reminds us of the value of existing both with the conscious and the subconscious. So we have the moons here. She's very much a female, a feminine card. And we'll learn more about her as the tarot series goes on. I too will be learning. I don't know much about the meanings of these cards. I just love this artwork. The Empress is much more austere. She's much more about beauty and femininity, but she's got strong connection with nature, but she's also has got some power to her here. And it says she has 12 stars on her crown, represent the 12 months of the year and the 12 planets of the solar system. She doesn't say what flower this is. On first glance, I thought it was a pitcher plant, but it might be orchids. And then again, she has the monarch butterflies. Isn't that beautiful? The Emperor. Now, the Emperor is the counterpart to the Empress, and he's an imposing figure that commands respect, she writes. And he's got the Ankh here, which is an Egyptian symbol of life and everlasting life. And this is an orb, or the earth, which represents his ultimate authority. And she's put a Chinese dragon, which is a traditional symbol of power and strength. And then the ram's heads here symbolizes connection with the sign of Aries. Isn't this a dynamic picture with these very Chinese style clouds? And I would love to, this one is so ornate. You could make this absolutely stunning and complex. Yes, what a neat page. And this is a very large book. For example, put a matchstick mouse up next to it, which is a small book. So it's about a normal size book. Let's get another normal size book. Now, this one is kind of big too. So it's pretty much a traditional size coloring book, I would say. I guess I'm used to coloring in the small square ones now. The Hierophant is kind of religious rigidity. This one is. He's a counterpart to the High Priestess. And the symbolize, some people think this is an evil sign. It just symbolizes the three worlds of the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious, which I'm not even exactly sure what that means, but it's nothing evil. It's just, what is it? What did Freud say? The ego, the id, the super id, that sort of thing. What we consciously think about, what is in our subconscious, and the superconscious, which I would imagine would be like higher power or God. He is a bridge between the earth and spiritual world. So he's got this religious staff symbolizing organized religion, Catholicism, Christianity. This is a very westernized type religion card. And marriage bands, what does she say about that? Signify traditional value. So it's a very traditional value card. The birds she chose were cardinals, which symbolize pure devotion. And she doesn't say what this plant is. Kind of looks like Oregon grape, which is not edible. I can tell you that from past experience. Very interesting card. Be fun to get to this card and understand it more in our series. Here are the lovers. Now the lovers both symbolizes sensual and emotional love, but it also can be a warning to not get too wrapped up in the physicality of love and sex and end up letting it distract you from your goals in life. So you've got the lovebirds, which aren't they fun to color? Because there's so many different colors that kind of bleed into each other. And so lovebirds are really a challenge, but also so beautiful when they're finished. I've seen a lot of you color lovebirds, and I think these are called bleeding hearts. Yes, and this, she says, they're symbolic of honest expression. And then there's like images of a snake, and that is, she says it brings to mind the Garden of Eden, but symbolizes also the distractions that can be when you're wrapped up in somebody. The lovers. Beautiful, huh? These images are just stunning. And one of the things I go into in my in the intro video of Coloring the Tarot is that one of the reasons I'm doing this whole series is not because I'm any expert on tarot, but because I've been hearing people say, oh, I love the images, but I don't want, to practice in Satanism. I don't want, to have anything to do with the devil. Well, I'm trying to reassure folks that they don't have anything to do with paganism or Wiccan or witches or devil. They basically are a meditative tool and a chance to connect with what's going on inside of you. So if you think of them like that, then they're just like any other tool for meditation. And you won't be so frightened to color these beautiful images, because the images in all of the tarot coloring books I have are just stunning. This is the Chariot. Says 6 pointed stars in the background is the celestial influence, these stars. And the Chariot is strength and determination moving forward. So these are roses. I think this card would be really neat if the roses were really deep reds and purples or something, and then the horse was white. Wouldn't that be neat? Except I don't really know how to color white things. That's why I stay away from panda bears and polar bears. I don't really know how to do white well. My mice are always gray or brown. They're never white. I've got some bunnies I want to do for next month. A couple pictures of bunnies, and I really want to make them white. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Ooh, this is strength. I've often seen this card depicted as a lion. I think it's interesting she chose a tiger because it's got that more, what does she call it here? Raw, wild energy. It's got more of a primalness to it than the austerity a lion usually portrays. She says she's got bamboo here, one of nature's strongest materials, which reinforces the idea of strength. And these mountains in the background are a contrast. They represent calmness and stability, which you need both to really practice your strength in the most positive way possible. There is the infinity symbol, limitless potential and wisdom, she says. This would be stunning. The oranges and blacks and then the greens around here. Oh, that'd be a beautiful picture. Gosh, I want to do all of these. This may be a book I eventually finish. I kind of think I will eventually finish all the tarot coloring books because I'm going to do 1 or 2 a month. And then when I get done, I'll probably start over because for me, they're a meditative practice when I color these. So here's the Hermit. And I think it's absolutely special that she chose a hermit crab for the Hermit because you always see this card depicted like a bent over old man in a cloak and a hood and a cane going into a cave, you know, the typical hermit. But the fact that it's a hermit crab, because aren't they what do they say? Alone in its concealment symbolizes isolation and introspection experienced on the road to self-discovery. And aren't they the ultimate loner animal? Because like they will fight another crab and they try to steal each other's shells, and they will fight another crab that comes anywhere near them. And they don't spend very long outside of their shells. Like they don't crawl out of a shell until they find another shell. So they really, sometimes I feel just like this hermit crab. I live alone in a cabin in the woods, really far away from anywhere. And so this is me. It says the seal of Solomon is represented by these starfish, the 6-point starfish, and they are a symbol of wisdom. And here's all these corals. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, and this like jelly here has sending out rays of light. My favorite coloring is underwater scenes, so I will definitely color this one. The Wheel of Fortune. So here, she writes that this is one of the most symbolic cards of the major arcana. I can't say that I really understand this card. I'm looking forward to getting to it in our series. She says that this wheel has the letters T-O-R-A in the traditional older cards. I guess it must have had that as well. And nobody really knows what they mean, except it could mean Torah, which means law, like the Jewish religious book Torah could mean law, or it could be read tarot and be a different spelling for tarot. That's interesting. That'd be fun to research that. She chose a Sphinx cat, doesn't say why, but it's got one paw raised representing knowledge and power. And these are lotus flowers, symbolic of karma and the idea of what goes around comes around. I would think a Sphinx cat would be really hard to color because they're basically flesh colored. But I think you could make this card I think this would be a very challenging page, but I think it would be so interesting because lotuses come in a variety of colors. But if you made them in the pinks that they come in, it might work with the pinky flesh of the cat. It might actually really work. Yeah, this would be a challenge, and I might be up for it. When we get to Wheel of Fortune, I'll see what my selections are out of the 5 books and which ones I want to color or not. There may be others I want to color more than this because this one would be hard. But that is a fascinating picture. Ooh, that's a heart. I have a hard time with coloring hearts. I like to color horror. I have some crook, and I like to color horror pictures, but I have found that I just don't know how to color a heart well. They look stupid. Justice. So there's a set of scales here, symbolizing the balance between the heart and the head. The ostrich feathers call to mind the Egyptian goddess of truth and justice, Ma'at, who had a mythology around her that she would weigh a person's heart after death against an ostrich feather to determine if they had led a virtuous life. So if the ostrich feather is heavier than the heart, like it's depicted here in this scale, does that mean that you have led a virtuous life? Because your heart would have to be lighter than a feather? Whoa. That would be a nail biter. And the double-edged swords in the border here of the card signify that actions have consequences. So all of these must be ostrich feathers. Now this is interesting because ostrich feathers are usually blacks, grays, and whites. So balance that with maybe metallic or a brightly colored like Turkish or Middle Eastern looking scale with a red heart. That could be really striking. Blacks and reds and golds. Could be a beautiful picture. We'll see if I decide that's the That's the picture I want to color when we get to this card. Oh, and of course the Hanged Man is a fruit bat. Of course. I love coloring bats. I colored the bats in Kirby Rosanes's Fragile World, and ever since then I've just loved coloring bat wings. The fruit bat swings peacefully from a branch. Its upside down pose gives it an alternate view of the world. It's surrounded by wisteria. So this is wisteria, which, are they purple or white? I can't remember what color wisteria is. I have a wisteria plant, but it never blooms. I don't know what's wrong with it. And that highlights the importance of surrender. Oh, wisteria is a symbol of expanding consciousness. And this, well, those look like apple blossoms, but that looks like a peach. So I'm assuming this is some kind of fruit. I bet it's peach. That is adorable. I totally want to color this bat. It's absolutely adorable. Okay. Death. Now, a lot of people are frightened of this card. It's probably one of the most misunderstood cards in the deck because it isn't a negative card. It looks scary. It's always got really scary images on it, but it's not what I would say the most. If you know the tarot, this isn't the card I'm the most scared of, right? There's other cards I don't like worse to draw, to think about. But this card I don't mind because it basically just means transformation. And that's why she does write that it is one of the most feared cards in the deck because it reminds us of our mortality. You've got a skull here. Chrysanthemums, she says, are often given as a token of grief or bereavement, and I did not know that. So I don't think I've ever colored a chrysanthemum, and I want to because they are very intricate in their coloring. I have blue chrysanthemums. The chrysanthemums that grow on my property are blue. I've heard they're blue or pink depending on something in the soil, and mine are blue. I don't get pink ones, so I think I would do this blue. And depicted alongside a raven, which are always fun to color, aren't they? And Death's Head Moth. These are Death's Head Moths, which I also have never had an opportunity to color. And they appear ominous. However, this is as much about new beginnings as endings and has positive links to transformation and rebirth. And these are THRU roses here, represent purity and immortality. So there's beauty in death as part of life, which don't we know it? I mean, things need to end so other things can begin. So that's basically what death means. It doesn't mean, if you were to draw this card, like I know some of us like to just randomly pick a card, then use that as a thought prompt for journaling or for, like I've said, meditation. If you were to draw death, that doesn't mean you're going to die or someone around you is going to die. It just means there might be an ending to something with a beginning coming. That's what is thought it's meant, but it'll mean whatever your brain wants it to mean. There's no magic in the cards. The magic is in us, right? We have our big, beautiful, magical brains that are barely understood. And sometimes it's hard to figure out what's going on with us. And maybe these work like journal prompts. So if you pull this, if I pulled this, I might think, and I might open up my journal and like, maybe for me, what in my life needs to go away? Maybe am I clinging? As a Buddhist, we always examine ourselves to see if we're clinging to something, because in our belief system, that's what causes suffering and pain in our lives. And it seems like for me, that's been my truth, is that every time I'm clinging on to someone or something, not wanting something to change, that's when I suffer the most. And if I let go of that, I can find joy and peace in any sort of situation. So this would not be a feared card for me, but would make me think about what am I hanging on to right now that could be let go or given away. I had once had a former beloved of mine once said, as long as you see change as loss, life will always be hard for you. And I've loved that quote ever since. So that's kind of what this means, is trying to see change not as loss, but just as what it is, change. Temperance. This card is concerned with balance, she writes. So it's mixing water with wine. So that's representing conscious and subconscious mind. So I guess you could make either one of them, whichever one you wanted, water and wine, right? It doesn't say water into wine, just mixing water with wine. So whichever one. And she doesn't say what these are, but they look like grapes, don't they? And that makes sense. It's all about balance. The crown indicates the importance of taking a higher path in pursuit of life's true meaning. That's a neat card. And she even shows you where I like it that she shows you where the reflections need to be, the highlights need to be in the grapes. Because leave it to me and I'll put them everywhere and then the whole picture doesn't make sense. The Devil, another often misunderstood card. This card, she writes, represents the darker side of humanity. So the half man, half goat symbol is like the opposition between good and evil, male and female, human and animal. The bat wings in the border are a nod to the traditional depiction of the devil. And since bat wings are something I really like to color, that will be fun. I've got a polychromos combination that works really well with bat wings. So this is all about, and the chains are suggestive of oppression and loss of personal power. So this card is about becoming enslaved to something or someone, you know, like giving up your power to a person, to a drug, to a thought process, and not keeping the power yourself to make good decisions for yourself. It doesn't mean the devil's coming into your life, although some of us may see that as the devil. In Buddhist literature, the devil is called Mara. We don't actually believe in... The Buddhism doesn't have a god or a devil, so it's not actually considered a religion technically. It's a spiritual practice. But there was always in the mythology, in the books, there's this creature called Mara that's constantly trying to tempt the Buddha to do things that are maybe not so nice. And the way he treats Mara is he kind of has pity for her. I think it's a she. Sometimes gender is really kind of loosey-goosey in Buddhism. But yeah, so this would be like Mara coming into your life, trying to knock you off of your path and off of your goals in life. That could be a really beautiful and somewhat scary card picture to color. But I could see folks who saw this would be like, heck no, I'm not coloring that and open up a portal to hell in my house. That's a scary looking card, right? But it is just paper. It is just a picture. Color it if you want or don't. And again, you know, everybody meditates differently or contemplates differently. We color, right? Coloring for me is a meditative practice. As a Buddhist nun, we sit a lot. I like to say that. I like to tell people, well, they ask me what I do as a nun, and I'm like, I sit a lot. We sit and meditate. But for some people, that's impossible. They cannot stop the racing of their thoughts. And so coloring helps with anxiety. And so does just like thinking about what these cards represent. You might just, gives you something to focus on while you're sitting and being quiet with yourself. This is the one that I fear the most in the whole deck. Of what I know of the deck now. I'm, again, not an expert. But of what I know, this one I don't like. This is like a castle made of sand. You know, it's like you think you got it all together and then boom. But really, it'll only take one little unforeseen mishap and it all comes crumbling down. So she says it's like symbolic of ambition based on false premise. So this often is thought of like if I were to draw this card and I wanted to meditate on this, I'd be like, what am I going forward with that I'm not really prepared to go forward with? Or what am I assuming is stable and good, but I really haven't done the work to make it stable? You know, that sort of a thing. Or am I afraid? Am I afraid of something that is going to fall apart? This is an anxiety card. And I do experience a generalized anxiety, and this card gives me anxiety just looking at it. And she writes that these flowers are fireweed flowers, which are the first plants often to grow back on burned ground. It's fascinating. 2020, we had a huge wildfire go through here, and my cabin stayed intact. It was damaged, but I did lose all of my possessions. And so this card would have even more meaning for me if I were to contemplate it now. And I've never seen fireweed flowers, but I haven't walked up to where the trees are all burnt yet. It's been 2 years, 3 years, and I still can't go up there and look at it. It's so hard. But I should go take a walk where it really burned down to the ground and see if I can find these flowers. That would be neat. That'd be really healing for me. Scarab beetles, aren't they? Scarab? I think it's pronounced. I don't know how it's pronounced, but I'm going to say scarab. They are neat to color because they're all different colors, aren't they? They're like blues and blacks and greens. She writes that the scarab beetle navigates its path by the Milky Way. It does? Really? How? I'm going to look that up because that is fascinating. These are a real thing, right? Are they mythological? How little I know about the desert. It says it's a highly symbolic card. The 2 water jugs represent conscious and subconscious. The flowing water nourishes the earth. The 7 large stars symbolize the 7 chakras, and the 5 arms of the galaxy represent the 5 senses. Does she say what these flowers are? No. It's a hopeful card, reach for the stars type of card. They kind of look like poinsettias, don't they? Bet they're not. That would make sense with the desert beetle. I don't know. This is a beautiful card. This page, couldn't you do amazing things with it, especially with that galaxy? Like, I don't have a color palette coming to mind, but I think it would have to do something with the color in the beetle. Some of you that are really good, that have those beautiful metallic watercolors, could really do an amazing job with this. Because I think this paper can handle watercolor. Just be careful with how much water you use. The moon. This card encourages the receiver to let go of fears from the past. So this is a Luna moth. I bet it's white. I don't know what color it is in real life, but I would look it up. These are moon flowers, which are associated with rejuvenation. And then this is a wolf and this is a dog, which are the tamed and wild elements of the unconscious mind. So this is setting intentions and letting go of fears. This is a peaceful card, which after the Tower, I like this. I can't wait till we get to this one in the series because I don't know much about this card, and this is just so peaceful. I definitely want this to be one of the 2 images I color that month. Because, you could just make this. Some of you have been doing black and white colorings, and this page would be really interesting in black and white. And gray. Real monotone. In fact, that might be exactly what I do with it. That'd be really interesting. Okay. And then we get the opposite day, the sun. And look at the sunflowers and the wheat. Oh, can you just see this in like yellows and golds and browns? This is purity of spirit and optimism. Wheat field is nourishment. The sun brings life energy. The 4 open sunflowers symbolize the 4 suits of the THRU, as well as earth, water, fire, and air. This is just a lovely card. These children profiles here represent innocence. Oh, I love to color wheat. That's a sentence that I never thought I'd ever say in my life. But wheat is just such a lovely combination of golds and yellows and browns. It's really fun to take pencils and just play with them and just get the colors to all blend. This will be a gorgeous, gorgeous page to color. You could do some fun things with those wings and the light source. Oh, love it. Okay. Judgment. I really don't know anything about this card. The Phoenix. This is a phoenix rising from the ashes to the sound of a trumpet call. It's rebirth, symbolizing the final journey to meet the Creator. Oh, so this is like Judgment Day? Like going to the rolling clouds in the background. Rolling cloud. It must be these rolling clouds. Remind us that the judgment of the universe hangs over all our actions. I don't understand very well, but I'll be looking forward to getting to this one. Sakura or cherry blossom symbolize renewal. In every ending, there's a beginning. Oh, here's the trumpets. And don't you just love coloring phoenixes? Because what color are they? Any color you want. Who knows? I love coloring phoenixes. And I love cherry blossoms. So this will be a fun card. And I'm using these as like I said, a meditative tool. So I'm not coloring them until we get to them in the series and I learn more about them. And then as I learn about them and as I'm coloring, I'll be thinking about them while I'm coloring. So when we get to Judgment, the world. Oof, this is a neat picture. The Yggdrasil tree. Yggdrasil. I've seen that word a lot. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Norse cosmology means the world's tree. So this must be like the tree of life. Nope. It's the world tree. Grows strong and sturdy, roots encircling the globe. This is fern. This is a wreath of ferns. The fern symbolizes renewal. Oh, yeah. I just learned. I've always just let my ferns grow, and they've kind of gotten less and less pretty and more gangly. I was told to cut them clear down to the ground to nothing. That's what you're supposed to do with ferns, because the little fernlings, the little babies, the little fiddleheads that you can also pick and fry up and eat, they're very good, all come back. They're under the ground and they come back and the plant is bigger and healthier and better than it ever was. So it really does. You cut it down to nothing and then they come back just gorgeous. So that makes sense that she would have chosen ferns. And the circular wreath is the cyclical nature of life. Okay. And then the atlas moths transformed during their life cycle are often seen as a sign of rebirth. I didn't know moths transformed. I thought only butterflies did. Atlas moth. I'm going to look those up. There's the world. This is neat. This you could do this in so many neat greens and browns. It could just be very, very lush. Again, I think my polychromos would really do well here. All right, we're done with the major arcana. So now she does a few cards of each suit, just to give a taste of what those suits are like. So the suit of coins, which is also called pentacles. So you'll hear them called both, because both coins and pentacles, which are not the symbol of the devil like so many people have appropriated them to be, but they were originally like a symbol of earth or humanity, because the 5 points were like the head, the arms, and the legs, or the 5 senses. 5 is a pretty common number you see in a lot of religions and spiritual beliefs. They're not necessarily evil in themselves, but people have made them that way. But in tarot, they were always meant to just be the same as a coin. So they're the connection with earth. So you're going to have the suit of coins or pentacles are related to the earth signs. And this suit is also linked to nurture and support. Yeah, from what I understand, these coin suits is mostly related with work, material gain, housing, structure, things like that. I love it that they have like a griffin there. And figs. Oh, I love figs. I want to plant a fig tree on my property. Ace of coins. Okay, so this is where the suit begins. It's the ace. A hand emerges from the clouds, offering up a coin to whoever is ready to take advantage of this good fortune. This is eucalyptus, which is sometimes called silver dollar. And these are roses and lilies. Opportunity is ripe for picking. Neat. King of coins. Oh, isn't that bull neat? Oh. A regal bull is a born leader, unafraid to flaunt achievements, shows off a crown of grapes and vines. This is a celebration of material wealth and plenitude. This is King Protea, this plant is, which emphasizes the majestic and stately nature. So this is all about having wealth and abundance and showing it. This is beautiful. This would be really neat. I was just imagining what color I would make him. Again, I want to make him white. I need to get better about making white. Making things look white. Oh, Queen of Coins. Look at this fairy. Oh, surrounded by flowers. The lushness of the natural world. Relation to Mother Earth. A woodland fairy queen. She's fertility, richness, and sensual pleasure. Isn't this gorgeous? Oh, I would have so much fun. The toadstool. Again, here's these bleeding hearts or bluebells. Kind of a ranunculus looking flower. Oh, so neat. The Knight of Coins. Okay, it's a stag, although with all this fur, it kind of looks like an elk. Maybe a stag, it could be an elk. Wearing armor. Nice. Quiet determination on reaching their goal. So these are acorns around there. Yeah, oak and acorns and a stag with armor. Wow. This could be really fun too. I think I've said that for every single one of these. See what I mean? I think I'm going to color this entire book. Page of Coins. In some decks you hear this referred to as page, sometimes princess. Sometimes you don't see page. Sometimes there's a prince and a princess. Sometimes there's a prince and a page. Sometimes there's a knight and a princess. You'll see them different depending on the deck. Chickadees. We have so many chickadees. Were considered by Native Americans to be messengers of good fortune. So this, in the Page of Coins, it's delivering a message of good fortune. It's perching on a pine tree. Strong connection to earth, and the mushrooms are symbolism of life coming from decay. So you see the pattern here that, rebirth, things ending and new things beginning. It's kind of this common theme. So the definitions of these cards are so generic that anybody could relate to them, but it's how you relate to them that's highly personal and how it helps you think about things that maybe you haven't thought about before. And I love coloring mushrooms, don't you? And these are all different kinds. There's chanterelles. There's these I can't remember what they're called. The little spotted ones that are highly poisonous. King Billettes. If you live in Oregon, you basically grow up knowing mushrooms. It's like you learn your ABCs and you learn the names of all the mushrooms because they're everywhere. The Suit of Wands. Okay, we're moving on to another suit now. This is the fire element, so this is going to go with all the fire signs. And energy and passion, ambition, and inspiration. Look at that dragon. Oh, this picture is so cool. Here's the wand. It's got a pine cone on it. How neat. Wow. That is a cool dragon. This is just a stunning picture, isn't it? Ace of Wands. A wand grasped firmly in a hand. The young leaves sprouting signify the potential for growth, and the castle in the background is grand and beautiful, but it's on fire. So says the path will not be without obstacles. Well, of course, right? Very cool. Boy, with the flames of the fire and this explosion of light, this could be a really dynamic card. I'm saying card and page, back and forth. I mean page, but anyway. King of Wands. Here's your lion. The crown has salamanders that are, because lions and salamanders are symbols of fire and strength. They are biting their own tails, which represents the infinite nature of opportunity, but also pushing through obstacles. And the fire-breathing dragons here symbolize a powerful masculine energy. So this is optimistic energy. Be fun to do that crown. It'd be fun to do the lion in a non-traditional lion colors, I think. All right. Queen of Wands. Whoa. Okay, I can't see anything but Angelina Jolie. Oh my gosh. This picture of a beautiful woman with these kinds of horns will forever be Angelina Jolie now to me. This is the Devil Queen. She has a proud, direct gaze, deeply self-assured. She's in touch with her darker side. But she's got this great elaborate armor and the flames, the torches. She's very strong, bold, owns her own power, believes in herself. Strong female energy. And she's Angelina Jolie. I actually would love to color this page because I do actually like that look a lot. And with the Wonder Woman-like armor, she's gorgeous. Oh, a rhino. How often do we get to color rhinoceros? Not very much often. And the volcanoes in the background. Oh, this reminds me of like a Kirby, what you'd find in a Kirby book. Volcanoes and a rock-hard rhino. He's got powerful armored horn and he's snorting. So he's full of energy and ready for action. And then the volcano is representative of the fiery nature of wands. Strength and enthusiasm to pursue new opportunities. Again, we've heard it over and over, right? Wow, this would be really cool. With this light source, you could make it shining off that armor. Oh, okay. This is definitely one I'm going to color when we get to that card. Page of Wands. It's a hawk. It's associated with fire and freedom. Glowing lanterns light the path ahead, but this hawk is just starting on the journey. And the quill pen indicates that he's eager to spread his message far and wide. Now, this page would be a wonderful practice for light sources because look at all of them. You have this candle, which would light up over down in here. You have lightning bugs. Fireflies represent the fire element. So fireflies, you would be lighting up here. This candle would light, maybe bounce off of this metal lantern here. Oh, that's another lantern. So you'd have lantern light here. Lantern light here would kind of light up this foot. You have a candle up here, which would bounce off of this chain. This firefly here would be kind of like lighting up that side of that wing. You know, this light here would light up, bounce off the metal here, and this light here would kind of glow towards the hawk that way. And then you have lightning in the background. So you have a lot of opportunities here to really play with light and practice doing your light sources, which is exactly what I will use this page for. Because I love to practice light sources. And I'm nowhere near an adept at it, but I do like to practice it. Oh, the suit of swords. Oh, I thought that was a unicorn. It's a Pegasus. Oh. Air is a masculine element, though invisible, can have a big impact. So it's linked to communication, courage, curiosity, and fairness. So kind of matters of the intellect. Ace of Swords, look at that crown. A hand wields, okay, they represent mental breakthrough or clarity of thoughts. This wreath here, a laurel wreath is what it looks like. Yes, a laurel wreath surrounds the crown, symbol of victory and achievement. However, the forbidding looking mountains represent challenges to come. This is beautiful. You could have so much fun with this, with the clouds and the fluffiness and the bubbly star-like stuff in the background, and then make all the focus on that beautiful crown. Yeah, neat. King of Swords. Wow, what is that? A peacock? Symbol of quest for spiritual enlightenment. Emperor dragonflies represent change and transformation, but also self-realization. And the clouds are settled and still, which is the importance of calmness and clarity. Wow, this could be so many beautiful blues and greens when you have the peacock, who is blues and greens, and the dragonflies, which are blues and greens. And I know these are clouds, but I almost want to make them water. But this is a sword, so swords are all about intellect, not about water, not about emotions. But wow, how beautiful. A lot of fun. I'd want to use paint on this one, I think. My Rosa Gallery watercolors. Queen of Swords. Now, she has angel wings and a halo. So it shows that she's strong, but she's also in touch with her softer side. And the butterflies again, transformation and growth. Wow. Those are all different kinds of butterflies. That's nice because by this time I think I would get tired of coloring monarchs. So it's neat to have different sorts of butterflies. She's beautiful. A lot of fun. Okay, the Knight of Swords. This is an ibex. How many of you have ever colored an ibex before? I actually think Kirby might have some ibex in one of his books. Decorative armor. Walking up the mountain peak. These are whiskey jacks, which live high in mountains. I'm not high enough in the woods to have whiskey jacks. And I don't know what color they are, so I'd have to look those up. They symbolize the pure spirit that drives the knight forward on their mission. That is a neat, neat page. I would definitely do the whiskey jacks like the colors they are. I'd have to look them up. And then this pine tree, I think. Fir, pine, I should know the difference. And then the armor on the ibex. This is just really neat. Super neat. Page of Swords. These are swifts. Swifts which can stay aloft longer than any birds. They can? I thought the albatross was the one that can do that. I had no idea. We have swifts. They're soaring alongside paper airplanes, positive movement, positive action, and the hot air balloons are indicative of travel and new adventure. I have got to color this picture because I love coloring hot air balloons. You can make them any color you want. And this is just so neat. It's different from her other ones because of the paper airplanes coming in and the hot. It's not all nature, you know. It's got this influx of whimsy to it. And I really, really like it. Yeah, this is definitely happening. And look, these are like old time, old school. Or almost steampunky looking. You could make those birds metal birds and make it steampunk. Fun. And then we have the last suit, the Suit of Cups. Now this is all about emotion. This is lots of water. Feelings, love, emotion. Water can be both soft and gentle and raging like a river. And does she say what these things are? No. But they don't look quite like dragons, do they? It's almost like it's a hydra because there's no body, but there's all these heads. 1, 2, 3, 4 heads. I wonder if it's a hydra. That would be more related to water. That many-headed serpent that comes up out of the ocean, maybe? Oh, a nautilus. Okay. These show up so often that I'm beginning to think they're not even real. I don't know. Is a nautilus a real thing? Like, is there a real animal that's a nautilus? Because I'm going to look it up because I'm fascinated by them. The colors of them, the way they're shaped. I just love them. And so this is the Ace of Cups. It's got a nautilus shell that's like a cup. So we've got the subconscious mind. It's overflowing with 5 streams of water. There's the 5 streams. That's the 5 senses. And the crashing waves. So these are all crashing waves all around it. Embody the idea of abundant emotion, but these feathers are dove feathers. So they symbolize divine love. So this is, it says it's fresh start again, but also emotional gratification and emotional cleanse. And you've got, you know, connection with divinity or your higher power. Isn't this a neat card? Oh, it could be so beautiful with the waves and the flowing water and the shell and the feathers. Oh, you definitely would want to choose a color palette for this and go with it. Yeah, okay, that's happening. This reminds me almost of like a mythographic. Actually, a lot of these pages kind of remind me of the stuff you'd find in mythographic. Any mythographic book. The killer whale, the king of the seas. This is King of Cups. He's got a crown of bubbles right here. Neat. He keeps his course no matter how turbulent the sea becomes. Octopus tentacles represent emotional life. I didn't know that, but I do love to color me some octopus tentacles. Put an octopus in a page and I'm all over it. You know I'm going to color this. I just love to do them. They're just so complex in their coloring and they're so much fun. It seems like no matter what color I choose to color it, they always come out looking good. They're pretty forgiving. Queen of Cups. Oh, it's a mermaid. Of course, it's a mermaid. Home of emotions and intuition. Her hair makes her look serene. The tranquility of the water. She's in touch with her feelings, but not overwhelmed by them. And it says angelfish symbolize the unconscious mind. I did not know that. When I had fish tanks, the angelfish were the meanest fish in there. They were always the one eating the other fish. If you were going to have angelfish, you couldn't have any other fish because they ate them up. But angelfish are a bunch of different colors, and it looks like all of these are different patterns, so you could make them all different colors. The mermaid, of course, can be any color you want. Look at her crown of shells, and oh, she's beautiful. And you know I'm going to do this one because the coolest underwater animal is a mermaid. Okay, Knight of Cups. Another underwater, of course, I'm going to do it. The seahorse, traditionally seen as a symbol of strength and power. I had no idea. Gentle, compassionate nature led by the heart, bringing peace to others. He's got really cool armor on. Look at that. Yeah, even his nose has got some armor on it. And then there's ornate shells and fish. Those are butterfly fish, aren't they? Very cool. Oh, this would be really fun to do. Yep, gonna do it. Oh, look at that. A pelican, right? Great white pelican carries a message. And then these fish are like koi, carp type fish. Weave in and out of lotus flowers, bringing hope and inspiration when least expected. Right, because as Thich Nhat Hanh said, it was one of, he's passed away now, but he was probably our greatest Buddhist teacher in modern times. He said, he coined the phrase, no mud, no lotus, meaning that these beautiful flowers, which come in a variety of colors and are absolutely stunning and gorgeous, only grow in mud. They grow like in shallow, swampy, muddy places. So these things of beauty come out of some of the ugliest places. So that's why the lotus is revered in Buddhism. So this is no mud, no lotus time here. And I've never colored a pelican. So that would be fun. All right. Is that the last? That's the last. So this wonderful book, I saw her said she lives in the Pacific Northwest, but they're meaning British Columbia. The pages are perforated, but not like, I've been pretty tough with this book so far, and they're not even showing any signs of coming apart. So you'd have to really tug at them to get them apart. These aren't going to fall out on you. And because of the perforation, it's already sort of broken for you, which is nice. I kind of like perforated pages sometimes because you don't have to break the spine. You just sort of have to put another book underneath it so it'll lie flat so you can color on it. Fantastic book. Look at that. I just highly recommend it. Again, Amazon, easy to find, really affordable. I mean, $12 for a book of this quality, you just don't see it. Put you there so that the glare doesn't bother people. So thank you for joining me on this long flip through, but a beautiful book. And I hope you do join me on the Color the Tarot series. You'll be seeing these pages colored as I weave them in with the other ones I'm doing. So thank you very much.